Act like I have my mask.
It's upside down. The Venus is upside down.
Oh, okay. Hello. Good morning. You are listening to, and you're watching as well, Tampa Bay Politics. I'm your host, Angela Birdsong, and I'm so excited because not only do I have an exciting person in our community, but a very good friend, Miss Ella Coffey.
Good
She's
morning.
done so many things in the community, helping out the people that she loves, her people.
Absolutely.
Ella,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for joining us this
It
morning.
it is my pleasure. I find it such an honor to join you this morning to talk about things that impact us every single day of our life. I certainly appreciate that opportunity. Um, Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, now, this is how we always do our show. We start from the very beginning. Where were you born?
Way back once upon a time, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio.
Really?
I'm a Cleveland Browns girl, Cleveland Cavs girl. Those are all my secondary teams. I'm definitely a Bucks girl without a doubt, but I am a
Gotta support
Cleveland
the home
Browns.
team too, and they're in the playoffs. Just saying.
Absolutely, absolutely. Round two is going to be a little difficult for us,
Okay, okay.
but I'm a Bucks girl, number one all day long. But I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. Actually, this is my birthday month. January 3rd was my
Happy
birthday.
birthday.
Thank you, thank you. But the day I was born, they said was the coldest day in Cleveland that year. So I
Wow.
came in
Mom was nice and
cool.
bundled up and warm in the hospital.
Absolutely, absolutely. Bringing into this world me, someone who finds it a pleasure, really, just to talk to people, educate them, and for me to be educated as well on issues that are taking place.
Now, when you were born in Cleveland, or where'd you go to school?
So I attended, interestingly enough, I attended a Catholic school, an elementary school,
Okay.
and a Christian school. So I attended St. Pius X early on, and then I ended up at Northeast Baptist Church School. And then we moved down here, and I started back into public school.
Okay, so how old were you when you reached Florida?
6.
Okay, still
Well,
a youngin'.
actually, I take that back. I was not 6. I was 8 when I reached
Okay.
Florida.
Okay. All
Hmm.
right. Now, so where did you end up going to college? Did you go to
University of
college?
South Florida, Tampa,
Okay.
right
All
here,
right.
right
Right.
here, right down
Okay.
the street.
And what did you major in?
My major was business administration with marketing as my background. I actually had such a wonderful time at USF at that time. You know, that kind of being free. I grew up in Plant City. I moved over to Tampa when I was in college, and that time of being free. But it was
From the country to the city.
absolutely, absolutely. But it was a time that I was really learning more about me as a black woman. Um, at that time, I actually was registered in a different party, and I was learning how the parties actually affect us every single day, and people don't realize it is those that are in charge, how they affect us every single day. And I got very active in college,
In politics.
in politics. I
Oh,
was
okay.
extremely active, and it made it made for a during college time a learning time of how policy changes everyday lives. If it's in black and white in a policy, we need to make sure we know what's going on, because how does it affect us? How does it affect our kitchen counter conversation? How does it affect us when we're talking about our kids going through the public education system, us going to work every day? How do those things affect us? And they don't realize, people don't realize how policy affects us every single day. What One of my opportunities, I worked for the supervisor of elections office, and we would go into the high schools
Now tell me this: when you left college, what was your first job?
I actually worked for Verizon.
Okay.
I was GTE at that time, and I did 8 years there.
Okay.
Customer service, 8 long years.
All right.
But I learned so much on the corporate side, the business side. Companies put dollars into what they feel are very important for them at what they're looking for. It was about us selling products, that upsell. Does everybody have caller ID? Does everybody have call waiting? Do they have voicemail? And that was what their goal was for us to make that push. So it was a corporation saying, we're going to put you in a position. We're going to provide the calls to you. And based on that conversation that you're having, you're going to upsell to them. So I started at Verizon.
I see. Okay, you were a salesperson.
I was a salesperson.
Okay.
And after Verizon, I moved on to nonprofits, actually, working at
Okay.
nonprofits. And
What's the first one you went to?
so I actually worked for Reverend Dixon at Coach Foundation. And then I went on to Tampa Bay Academy of Hopes, where I was at that point selling the nonprofit to corporations to help provide money to the agency. So we had an opportunity just to kind of sell the program, the kids program to the community. And when I say sell the kids program, we wanted people to come out and enjoy what was happening with the kids. They would spend a weekend at Busch Gardens. We had a hotel
Oh,
for
that's
them.
nice.
Weekend at Busch Gardens. But they were learning what that next step was for them. When they got out of high school, what were they going to do next?
Okay.
And if we don't show, teach, and train folks, help educate them.
Absolutely, because their home life is not always the best.
Absolutely.
So you need that intervention
We,
as young as possible.
Absolutely. We took them on college trips. We went to
Wonderful.
Atlanta. Just a great time that you have with young folks.
Is that
are
still going
learning.
on?
No. Well, I think Tampa Bay Academy of Hopes is still open. I don't know what their programs are now.
Okay,
That was
okay.
James Evans. He was the chair of that program.
Okay.
And we lost James. James passed.
Oh, yes. I
Many-
did hear about that.
many years ago now.
Okay.
But at any rate, it was an opportunity for us to educate kids in that next level. And then when I left the nonprofit world, I got involved in politics.
Okay.
I was, like I said, in a different party. But when I became a Democrat, I became very active in the education portion. I wanted people to understand what that policy that they were dealing with, how it was going to affect them every single day of their lives.
So what was your first job? You actually worked for the party?
Not at that time. I was
Okay.
just volunteering, but I volunteered. My first political job was I helped a campaign in Plant City. Young lady was running for city commission,
Okay.
council commission in Plant City, and I helped her campaign, and that bug just kind of stuck on me. And I kept kind of saying, I want to do this, I want to do that. But you have to learn what it is and how you can get to those particular points. So I say, I want to do this, I want to do that. I was saying to myself, if I can help folks make a change in policy that they're not happy about, if I can get people engaged to make that difference, this is where I need to start. And that starting was me knocking doors and saying,
Okay. That was your first time
Right.
really getting out there, really working
Absolutely.
a campaign?
Mhm.
Okay. Good.
tell
good.
me what's working in your community, what's not working in your community, how do we make those changes, who do we go to talk about it? Is it a city council issue? Is it a county commission issue? Is it a state issue? And so you have to learn all of those different locations of what's important. How do you get things changed? So I was knocking doors,
Okay.
talking to voters and having that conversation and saying, how do we make that change? And is it going to take a phone call? Is it going to take us getting everybody on the street to say, this is what we need? These are the change. I have a pothole out here. How do I get that, fixed? Exactly.
Okay. So after that, did that campaign, was that successful or not?
Was not successful 46%, I want to say, is what
Okay.
she
All
got.
right. She
But
did a
it was
good
not.
showing.
She absolutely, without a doubt, for her to be, she was running against an incumbent. It was her
Okay.
first run, but we had a really good time of just learning. And I learned about vote by mail at that time. Didn't know
Okay.
anything about vote by mail, but I learned it because part of the campaign was, how do we now get the folks that say they will agree with you, they will vote for you, how do we get their vote into the office? Do we push them out to vote on election day? Do we say, hey, early voting's available to you? No. We want you to know that you can call, get your vote by mail ballot sent to you, and
Okay.
hear
Now, what
and
was the
have your
next
voice.
thing you did after that?
Oh, I don't know. That race was back in 2000, early 2000s probably.
Okay.
Um I'm not really
Now, were
sure.
you working at that time
I was. I
at
was.
Verizon?
I was at Verizon at
Okay.
that time.
Okay. And
Um
then you left Verizon and you went where?
when I left Verizon, I went to the nonprofit world.
That's right.
Right, right.
That's right.
And
And then after that, what did you do after nonprofit?
after that, I ended up working for the supervisor of elections office.
Oh, that's the first time I met you.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And I worked there. I think when we met was my second time back at the supervisor of elections
Oh,
office.
okay.
I worked for Buddy Johnson the first go round
Okay.
when he was the supervisor of election, and that's I kind of started doing the going into the high schools and registering seniors. When you're 16 here in the state of Florida, you can pre-register to vote. So we would go into all of the high schools and go into a senior class.
And they
And
are still doing that now, right? Because there's
before
someone there that's helping.
before COVID, they were.
Okay.
I'm not
Okay.
sure now how that process is
It's
taking
working.
place, right? How it's working out.
Okay. Okay.
But we would have conversation with the students. We would talk about one of the great things that I talked about was, did you know that you could not go down to Ybor City after a certain time if you were under the age of 18 without a guardian or a parent? Now that may have changed by now, but
I hope it
that's
hasn't.
I, but it started a great conversation because teenagers, they have cars, or they may get on the bus, or they have friends that are come and get them because they're in their parents' car, whatever it may be. They may want to go and hang out in Ybor City, but they couldn't after 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So my point was, local races affect you more so than voting on the federal level for the president,
Absolutely.
because it was the city council here in Tampa that pushed that policy through. So
Okay.
that was a way to have a conversation with the students to let them know local
Something that
policies.
actually affects your life.
Right. We talked
Yes.
about school board members. They set your school calendar, your days that you were off, and during that time was the conversation about Good Friday being
Okay.
a holiday or not being a holiday. So I brought that up again. How do your school board members? How do they get on the diocese to make those decisions? And it's because they're elected in. So you may not make a difference for your calendar days, but if you have younger siblings or younger friends that are in school, you can help make that difference and get.
And it's a big issue right now. Civic education for our young people.
Absolutely.
Maybe they'll make better decisions if they're
Absolutely.
educated.
Absolutely. So we would have those type of conversations, and that's when I say educating. That's what's important to me. Folks knowing where it starts, how to get there, and how to make that
I
difference.
think we need this for the adults too.
I agree.
You know what's really a shame is how many people do not show up to the Hillsborough County Commission meetings.
Right.
How many people do not show up to your Tampa City Council meetings? Yeah, and these things really affect you.
Absolutely. I know the state capitol is in Tallahassee, and it's a 3.5 to 4 hour drive. But committee week is going on right now.
Right.
That's where decisions are made for you when it comes to the state level. Um, they're having that conversation among themselves, those that are elected. But at a committee meeting, you have an opportunity where you can express your beliefs on that particular bill that's going through. We have a couple bills that's, as we do every year, but a couple bills that we should really question and work very hard to stop them from passing. So, and it starts with the committee meetings, us going to the committee meetings and having our voice heard. It We need to make phone calls to the state reps and to the state senators and let them know how we feel about an issue. where we stand on that particular bill.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to go to a break now, but we're going to talk about Tallahassee
Absolutely.
when
Look
we
forward
come
to
back.
it. Sounds good. You can cut the air off.
Call Ricky, Ricky, Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe me. 100 down, 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay, call Ricky, he coming. He take the kids, state of Florida, grab up in the sundown. 184-361 Rick. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, push your voice statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361 Rick. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361 Rick. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky, Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
We are back for another round of Tampa Bay Politics. I'm so excited because this is my first show for the new year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everybody out there.
Welcome back, Tampa Bay Politics.
All right. And we are sitting here with Ella Coffey. She is, let me see if I can get this right, the first vice chair of the Democratic Executive Committee in Hillsborough County, Florida.
Right. The HCDEC, as we call it, which is Hillsborough County, like you said, Hillsborough County Democratic Executive Committee. And the Executive Committee are folks that are elected here in the county to make decisions for the Democratic Party here in the county. And you're elected by becoming a precinct committee member, precinct committee man or woman. So I live in a precinct, and I represent that particular precinct. When we're talking about elections that are taking place, part of my role is to knock on doors and remind folks, we need you to go out and vote. We want you to vote a Democratic ticket. Here are the candidates that are running, and we ask that you choose the candidates.
So
that's running
each
on the
one of
Democratic
us
Party.
should have a committee man or woman in our precinct.
Absolutely.
If you do not have one, think about being one.
Absolutely. There is an availability for you to serve as that precinct committee member. And President, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say it was President Truman, talked about the best job he ever had was being a precinct
Not
committee
president.
member. Right. And he said it while he was the president.
Okay.
He said it because it gives you an opportunity to have that conversation with your neighbors. And you find out things that you share that are common that's taking place in the neighborhood. You may know that there's a bridge show bridge. Somebody's out playing bridge on the next street over that you didn't know about, or you may know about that pothole that keeps folks keep hitting and tearing up the alignment in their car. But you learn things being that precinct committee person because you're talking with your neighbors, whether it's on the phone, whether it's you knocking doors, you are having that conversation. And I think that's what we're missing in politics nowadays.
And anybody can be a precinct captain, right? They just
Absolutely.
can go and apply for it.
You must be registered as a Democrat or a Republican. But if you're registered as a Democrat, every June you file with the Supervisor of Elections Office. Not every June, I'm sorry. It is every 4 years. Once every 4 years, you file with the Supervisor of Elections Office. You go in and fill out paperwork as a regular candidate, because if someone else decides they want to run against you, They also will go out and fill that paperwork, and your name will appear on the ballot in the August election. You are running for election in that particular precinct.
Now, it's not as complicated as it sounds because if you show up to the party meeting, they help facilitate all of that.
Absolutely. And if no one else is running, you automatically become the precinct committee person for your precinct. Your name would not appear on the ballot. You've been elected automatically. And we meet once a month. We had a meeting on Monday night. We meet once a month, and things that come before us that need a vote, you are part of that voting
So
body.
it's the third Monday, right?
It is the third Monday of each month. And of course, this month is Dr. MLK birthday, so we do not meet next week. We met this week to avoid folks that may be
I
out
missed it?
doing yes, folks that may be out doing volunteer events for Dr. MLK's birthday
Yes.
weekend. So we moved it up a week, but we meet once a week,
And
we
it's a
have
big day
conversation.
because we're going to have the breakfast is in the morning.
Yes.
Which they're having virtually this year.
Yes.
Toba's breakfast. And then, of course, the parade down Martin Luther King Boulevard in Tampa, Florida.
But that's actually moved to Juneteenth
I'm
weekend.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I stand corrected. Don't go out there for the parade.
Do not.
It's been moved to Juneteenth.
It has been, and we are in that parade as a matter
The
of
Democratic
fact.
Party is going to be represented because a lot of people say we never see the party until you want our vote. So
Absolutely.
you are going to see a lot more of the Democratic Party at food banks, all kind of events in the community because we want to be seen out there.
And you know what it takes? It takes volunteers. It takes folks saying, I want to come out and do something. Maybe my passion is working at a food bank. We do have folks that is their passion. We actually had a large showing recently for a food bank.
We have a lady named Sylvia Adams.
She
Yes, she's
serves
doing
as
outreach.
our outreach. Yes,
Coordinator.
absolutely. But for the parade, just before I forget, it's
Okay.
actually the Hillsborough County Democratic Black Caucus
That's leading the charge
that's leading
for that.
the charge, and the Hillsborough County Democratic Executive Committee has joined on with the caucus, and we will walk together and be in that parade together. We're inviting all other clubs and caucuses. And what's a club and what's a caucus?
Let's talk about that because we did mention that the Hillsborough County Democratic Party meets the third Monday
Correct.
virtually of every month.
Right.
But underneath that umbrella, I always call it the mothership.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
There's a lot of groups, clubs, and caucuses that are represented there. So let's talk about
Absolutely.
who shows up at the party meeting.
And they meet different needs in your life. For instance, we have Hillsborough County Democratic Black Caucus, which meets the needs of African Americans here in the county.
I'm the secretary.
There we
and
go.
you are the
second vice.
All right.
Second
we're in
vice
it.
president of the Black Caucus. We have the LGBT caucus. We have
Women.
the Women's Caucus. We were trying to get a business caucus here in the area because
really?
folks talk
Okay.
about Democrats aren't capitalistic, and it's not about we're only about money, but folks that have small businesses.
Oh, that would be a very good caucus. Yes.
Absolutely. Folks with small businesses get together, have that conversation, talk about
Starting up a Jewish caucus, I believe.
Absolutely. I was going to mention that we are starting up a Jewish caucus. So the caucus is
Environmental for people who are we have
Absolutely.
people that really care about clean air and water.
which we need
Which you
daily,
need.
all day long. But yes, it's something that kind of meets a certain purpose in your life, whether it be
Yes.
based on your religion, your culture, your race. We have
We're Big
caucuses.
Tent.
We absolutely are. We have caucuses that you're dealing on issues specifically in that category. And then some of the clubs, for instance, we have East Hillsborough Club, we have South Tampa Club, we have New Tampa Club. So those are clubs maybe based on the area of town that
Geographic
you live.
area where you live. That was a really big issue before the pandemic, and we didn't have virtual meetings
Right.
because everybody couldn't get to the main meeting.
Right,
Yeah.
that third Monday, absolutely.
Yes,
Or
yes.
if you would come, maybe you couldn't vote, so you felt like you weren't a part of the Democratic Party, which is not true. That was simply the business meeting, and folks that had a voting opportunity would be able to cast their vote that third Monday. But
All
if
right,
you're in
let's
a
talk
club,
about voting.
but let me just finish this. If
Okay,
you're in a
okay.
club or a caucus, then
Mm-hmm.
you are the member that's a part of that club or caucus, and you are much more inclined to knock doors, talk with people in your neighborhood,
Okay.
and to talk about things and work on things that are better for your community.
Okay. Now, the leadership in the Democratic Executive Committee is elected.
Absolutely. Our local chair is Ione Townsend, retired nurse practitioner from
Plant
Plant
City.
City. And as a matter of fact, she ran for our state leadership here, the Florida Democratic Party. But Ione is our current chair. I serve as the first vice, and our second vice is Russ Kahn. We have a treasurer, Donna Harwood. We have state committee men and women. Marcus Klebe is our state committee man, and Vanessa Lester is our state committee woman. And those two, they are the liaison between us and the Florida Democratic Party. So they will attend meetings, statewide meetings that all of the the county party affiliates would attend, and they will talk about things statewide. And then we have our secretary, who is Sarah Gosdor.
Now, if you are a registered Democrat in Hillsborough County, Florida, I'm going to tell you, please try to come to at least one or two meetings.
Absolutely.
You will be surprised at the inner workings that are going on.
Absolutely.
I mean, we have an awesome chair.
Yes.
I got to say, she gets the vote out.
Yep.
Okay, she knows how to mobilize people all over the county. So even if you only have a little bit of time to give, we need you.
Yep. If you have 30 minutes, I would take 30 minutes. And you know why?
Why?
Because you're going to have conversation with someone that you're going to enlighten. You're going to educate someone who has no knowledge of what's going on.
Right.
And that's where we have to make a difference. If we don't start getting people that have the same common likes that we have and believe the policy that we believe in, that we should provide public education, that we should be able to have affordable, livable wages, that we should have homes that we can buy into. I was talking to a council member yesterday in another county, and they said, we're tearing down small houses and building bigger homes on that lot. And we're going to make it where it's unaffordable for people to live in this county if we don't grab a hold of what's taking place right now.
Absolutely. And, we're talking about, number one, if you're poor, you got a big problem. But even if you're working, you still got a problem finding housing.
Yes, it is absolutely almost impossible for us to find affordable housing right now.
These rental prices are astronomical.
Absolutely. I mean, what you pay for rent right now in the new Tampa Heights area,
oh my gosh,
that's going
New
up.
Tampa.
It's like $1,500 a month,
yes.
and that's for one bedroom.
Who can afford that?
It's absolutely beyond.
And I raised
believable.
my son as a single parent, and I told him, I said, I'm not sure I could have done it.
Absolutely.
If the
It is
rents were
hard
what they
right
are now.
Yeah. So those are the things that we would work on. Something recently was taking place. The Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners had a vote last week that we didn't necessarily agree with, but we were making some phone calls to the
What
BOCC.
would that be?
The environmental. It was an environmental vote with water.
Okay.
Excuse me. I can't remember the title of it, but I know there were some phone calls that were made, and we really felt like the vote should have gone a different way, because we have 5 Democrats on the BOCC now and 2 Republicans, where there has been a time in this county where we had 6 Republicans and 1 Democrat, and we fight to get more Democrats elected. And if we're going to fight to get you elected, some things should some votes should absolutely go our way.
I will have to say that thank God we really worked on it, and we have the majority on the Board of County Commissioners now when it comes to Democrats. And one person who I really, really love is a lady named Pat Kemp, because she goes balls to the walls against those developers.
Absolutely.
And she's making them pay impact fees, which I'm so happy about, because when these developers come in, they just want to build and go.
Yep.
They don't want to build
Absolutely.
schools, roads,
just
libraries. They don't want to hear about it.
Yeah,
but we need these things.
I mean, just build a road that's amenable to the number of people you're bringing to that community.
You can't build a lot of rooftops and just let the cars just pile up on the road.
Right. And we had that problem. I have a home in Riverview area, and Big Bend and Riverview, just exploded.
God help you at rush hour.
Right, exactly. And 301 has been expanded in that area, but that took money from the state. But the state didn't cause that problem.
Okay.
It was local developers that absolutely.
Well, they were going buck wild crazy when they had all Republicans
Yes,
on there.
yes.
Okay. So now we're trying to give them some hard, make it hard for them now.
Exactly, but a hard stop on how we're going to make a change here in Hillsborough County.
Okay, we got to go to break, but this is a hot topic.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
How to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
Frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
All you sports fans, tune in every Monday morning to listen to Mic'd Up Mondays with Michael Clayton. You don't want to miss this.
On In Touch Radio.
Okay, we're back. We got some hot topics going on. You know what? I'm talking with Ella Coffey. She's the first vice chair for the Democratic Executive Committee in Hillsborough County, Florida, inviting you to come on down and get involved. You know, we know there's a lot of stuff going on in Washington, but the local scene is going to really affect your life
Every day.
every day. So, okay, so Ella, tell some people how they can get involved right now.
Absolutely. Hillsborough County Democratic Party, you can find us, you can just Google us, and we have our website, though, hcdec.org. You can take
Say
a
that
look.
one more time.
Sure.
You said that too fast.
HCDEC, which stands again for Hillsborough County Democratic Executive Committee, but hcdec.org, and you can find information out about us. We are in every aspect of your life. If you're interested in city council issues, if you're interested in the BOCC issues.
That's
and if
Board
you-
of County Commission.
Right, Board of County Commission, thank you. And if you're interested in what's happening in Tallahassee at the state level, we have a legislative committee that you can be a part of, which you would then be on that committee, you would then be the person that's bringing information back saying, this bill is happening right now. This is what they're pushing through Tallahassee. This is the issue that's going on right now in Hillsborough County that the BOCC, the Board of County Commissioners, is taking a look at, or this is what's happening with Tampa City Council or Temple Terrace City Council or Plant City City Commissioners. Being a part of the legislative committee, we have a platform committee where you help develop our platform. We're missing a message with the Democratic Party. That message sometimes does not leave our heads, our feelings, what we feel every day about being a Democrat. It doesn't leave us and go out to the community. In our last election, we missed out on so many opportunities for people to know what Democrats stand for. It was always
Well, you know what? In the words of Joe Biden, they beat the hell out of us with the defund the police.
Right. And defund the police doesn't mean we're going to take money from the police. What it means is we want to put money in other areas. But I'm not necessarily a big proponent of defund the police.
You know, that slogan did not
It's
work in
horrible.
our favor.
It's horrible.
And the Republicans ran with it.
Absolutely. We lost 2 seats based on that.
Easily,
We had a state senate,
if not more.
Right. We had a state senate seat. Patricia Sigmund was running up in the Gainesville area, a little above Gainesville. That was a seat that we really felt we would be able to pick up. And the gentleman that won absolutely annihilated her with those
that.
commercials.
Okay.
Down south, we lost 4 seats in Miami-Dade. There was 2 U.S. House seats, Donna Shalala and Debbie Marcusio Powell. We lost both of those seats.
2 awesome
Absolutely.
Politicians
Absolutely.
gone.
State Senator Javier, they call him JJR, Javier Rodriguez. We lost his state Senate seat. I think he lost that by like 27 or 31 votes.
Oh, my
something like
gosh.
that. I mean, like, I don't even know how you get out of bed every day.
And,
like,
they were just on Spanish radio saying the Democrats were just out and out socialists.
Absolutely.
And communists.
Absolutely.
And these people come from communist countries, and they don't want to even touch that.
And we didn't respond fast enough. We needed to respond. Sometimes you say, oh, well, I'm just going to ignore what, Lil Ray Ray is saying. We'll ignore him and he'll go away. That did not happen with the Republicans.
And they started early, and they were fierce with it.
Early, long, commercial
And
after
relentless.
commercial. Yes. And people believed their message about us. And we never said to them, here is our message. We're not socialists. What we're saying is there's a better way to live in America. There's a way for us to reach the American dream, and it does not have to be about us shoving this manner down your throat, or you only can do it if you have money, or you're only worthy if you're a part of that 1%. That's not our message. Our message again is we believe in public education. We believe in people finding a job that gives them a livable wage. We believe in
And
affordable
dignity,
housing.
yes.
Right. Everybody in America counts. Whether you were born in America, you became a citizen afterwards, or if you have escaped from your country because it is just not right for you, we believe everybody in America has a chance. Now, we have to follow the law in order to become a citizen, but we still believe everybody has that chance. And we need to make sure we're having that conversation with people on the street so they understand how to make a difference. Where would I call if I had an immigration problem? Where would I call if I have a problem? I can't pay my light bill this month. Who do I call? Where do I call? Where do I get help to help put me back on the track? I've lost my job because of COVID. Where do I go to get help for this? So whatever your passion may be, you can volunteer with the Democratic Party if for no other reason but to help your neighbor, to help someone maybe down the street or around the corner from your home, to help them live their American dream.
And it's funny, if people know you're affiliated with the party, they're going to say, and when they have a problem, they're going to come to you.
Absolutely. 100%.
You're going to become the go-to person in the neighborhood.
100%. Something I do want us to talk a little bit about so people understand what the Democratic Party, we talk about primaries. I know there's some conversation that we want to change our primary process here in the state of Florida. I don't know if that's going to happen where we open up the primaries.
Oh, well, thank goodness. The jungle primary did not win on the ballot.
Yes.
And
yes.
I was I'm with the League of Women Voters. They came out against it as well. We just want Democrats to vote for Democrats and Republicans to vote for Republicans, and we don't want to have everybody all bunched up together because somehow Republicans always have all the money.
Absolutely.
I don't know why.
Absolutely.
They put over $1 million to try to kick out Pat Kemp. It didn't work because money doesn't vote, but they always have the money.
That's a county seat. Can you imagine the money they put in state Senate seats?
I know.
State House seats. So when we talk about the primaries, though, you're voting as a Democrat for someone who best services you, that they represent the party in the general election. So we may have 3 or 4 Democrats. Great example. I ran for city council in 2019.
Former candidate as well.
Right. There were 5 of us in that particular seat, and all 5 of us were registered Democrats. So it wasn't as if the Democratic Party could come in and say, okay, well, I'm going to support this person. in a primary.
As a matter of fact, it's against the rules, right?
Absolutely.
They cannot support one Democrat versus another.
Right. Now, we ran in a nonpartisan race, but we still were registered Democrats.
Okay.
So we could not go in and say, okay, well, we're going to support this one candidate and push them forward. Because in the primary, it gives the Democrats an opportunity to have their discussion, what they want to do, what changes they want to make in for whatever seat they're running for. So once those 5 Democrats.
And Mama can't pick a favorite with the kids.
Cannot.
Because it causes jealousy,
cannot.
Dissension.
Right. Absolutely. But here's what the Democratic Party can do, and they did do. They can remind folks there's an election going on. If you live in this district, here are your candidates that's running in the district. Here's their website information. If you want to contact them, get information, here's the information for them. In a primary, we will simply say, here are all the candidates running. You pick who you want to pick, but we need you to go out and vote. As a Democrat, we need you to go and share your voice by voting. So we get people out to vote during the primary, and then in the general election, we then
get them registered.
Absolutely.
Yes, it does help people to know what's going on and get out there and get involved.
Absolutely. You want to make sure your information at the Supervisor of Elections office is updated, address change, your signature. If you registered to vote when you were 18, your signature may have changed if you're now a little older, so you want to make sure your signature is updated. So yes, we want to make sure that information is current. Excuse me. If you want to sign up to vote by mail.
So there's a lot of issues going on with vote by mail. What do you think about vote by mail?
I actually think vote by mail is very good. When I worked for the supervisor, my second run working for the Supervisor of Elections office, I was responsible for the vote by mails going out. We sent out 196 or 197,000 that year, and every single one we sent out from the office in our room, I sent out. I was there every day, all day long.
Wow.
Those 45 days was very incredible for us. But we sent out the ballots. They come back in. We process them. We take a picture of your signature when it comes back in. Make sure when you do sign up to register to vote by mail, you always sign the back of your envelope, because that's how we verify that you're Angela Birdsong.
And send it back early so you can correct it if needed.
Absolutely. But when we get your envelope, we show that your signature matches what we have in the system, and then your ballot is then collected. Vote by mail is just very, very comfortable for folks to vote. The ballots are sent out 30 days before the election date. So you have a solid week where you can just look at your ballot and you can do all the research for folks that's running. But as a Democrat, we should be knocking on your door saying, here's the candidate that's a Democrat that's running. Here are the things they're pushing for. We want better air and water quality. We want better education. We want this. We want that. Those are the conversations we should have at the door during the general election.
Okay.
Reminding people there is an election going on and that your voice, your vote matters. We need you to go out and cast it. As a Democrat, that's what we need to be doing, having that conversation.
And Ella, it just cannot be said enough how much people need education out there.
Bottom line. I mean, if I'm going to work every day, my mind is based on me going to work, coming home, taking care of my family. Maybe I have an older relative I'm taking care of. So when I sit down,
COVID on that now,
right? And when I sit down at night, the last thing I'm really doing is paying attention to the local news.
Right.
So I may not know what's going on locally. So if I get a knock at the door, I may spend 2 or 3 minutes at my door talking to somebody that's just going over a couple of things that's happening in the neighborhood, but I'm being educated on it. And that's all that we're asking.
And when people get their ballots, they don't know who the people are.
Right. And as a candidate, that's the candidate's responsibility to get their information out to the voters. But sometimes they don't have the money to mail it. So we have volunteers that will deliver stuff to the door, deliver their pamphlets to the door, have a little bit of conversation with the folks if they answer their door to say, here's why it's important for us to be involved in this local race. Here's why it's important for us to vote for our presidential candidate. But we can start from school board.
And we have slate cards.
Yes, I was going to say we can start from school board all the way up to the president. And when they knock the door, they can cover a couple of viewpoints for each person that's running in each particular race. Yes.
The slate cards are just so awesome and
They
so
are.
valuable.
They are, because they provide
Because
you
the people
every
don't
race.
know.
Yep, they provide you every race that's going to show on your ballot, and then it provides you the person that we're supporting in that particular race. And as a Democrat, we don't support Republicans, and it's a very simple reason why. We don't have the same beliefs as Republicans. Some Republicans don't believe public education is the best way, and I'm okay with that. But I don't think we should pay for students to attend a private school. I think we provide public education, and that's where our money should go. But if you want to attend a private school, I'm all for that. But you simply pay for that, because that's a choice you're making, the type of school you're going to. I attended Catholic school, Christian school. I graduated from a Christian high school when we moved back down here, but my family paid for me to attend that. It was not something we looked to the state government to pay for.
Okay, so when we come back, we got more issues in Tampa to talk about.
Yes.
So much.
Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.
You've been injured, you deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is attorney Clinton Paris from the law office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the law office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
We're back. I'm here with Ella Coffey. She has more than one hat. She's working for the Democratic Executive. Well, she's elected for a member of the Democratic Executive Committee, and she also is part of the Democratic Black Caucus here in Hillsborough County. Now, since you are newly elected in your spot, do you have some ideas about what you want to do? Maybe some changes where you can help?
I think my biggest push for my time during the DEC, being a DEC chair, vice chair, is for us to have more conversation at more doors, to get more people involved. The environment may be important to me. If I knock on a door and a person says the environment is important to them, I'm going to lead them to the environmental caucus. Okay. If I knock on a door and
instead of saying join the party, say join the environmental caucus.
Absolutely, because they're doing this, and this about the environment, and that may be something that really sparks that person. They can go and get involved with the environmental party, and now they can bring more people with them, more friends that may not necessarily be registered as Democrats, but they find the environmental party important. Once they go to attend one or two meetings, now it may be the thing for them, and they join our party. And now we have someone else that's saying, here's what you get when you join the Democratic Party. You have an opportunity to really share in your individual experiences that will be important for you. I joined the Black Caucus because obviously I'm of that color, but it's important for our community to realize we have been the backbone.
Amen.
The backbone.
Stacey Abrams.
Of this party for so very long. We all need to be involved, because we can't complain and say, oh, well, they're not doing this, and this if we're not involved.
Right.
If we want them to do this, and this, we have to get involved and start to kind of push that. I'm not saying get involved to say, okay, well, we need to change these 10 items. Get involved. Here's one or two things we want to work towards.
You know, I've always said if Black people in Hillsborough County actually showed up in force in the meetings, they could have whatever they want.
Absolutely.
We got the numbers.
Right. But
the votes.
Right. But if we bring one or two people, we can say, here's one or two things we want to change, and slowly we can get to that party that is actually the big tent party that's open to everybody. So as the vice chair, I want us to get more people involved. And you don't have to be, involved in everything. You simply get involved in what's important to you. You may have two kids that's in the public school system, so public education's important to you.
Absolutely.
We have a problem here in Hillsborough County with our school district. The state's going to take them over based on them not
They
having
have
the
some
money.
fiscal problems.
Right.
Are
But
they like 50 million in debt, or
I
is
think
it
it's a
more?
little more than 50, but my thing is here, that didn't just happen
Yes.
over the course of the last 1 or 2 weeks.
And COVID just made it
Absolutely.
so much worse.
This has been a problem that dates back to two superintendents.
Okay.
It dates back to Mary Ellen Elia when she was here. And we have consistently gone down a path that's not the best for our school system. And, you know, we're in financial problems. But if that's important to you, you can come, join us, get involved with the groups that are fighting for what's happening at the school district. And
we have children that are not being educated right now.
absolutely.
Period.
Absolutely.
Because they're not tuning in on
online.
online.
Exactly. They're receiving their education at home, and they don't show up to class. And how
Let's
are they being
face it,
educated?
you know,
right?
if you're not in a moderately financially well-off household,
right,
it's a challenge for them. Much less if you already have, if you're living in poverty.
Right. Your internet services may or may not work that particular day. If you're living in poverty, you may not have access to that service. You know, so there are some things that we need to have a conversation. But even for folks living in a socioeconomic situation that's a little poorer than other folks, there still are ways that we can get things done. And if you don't know how, there's someone in the Democratic Party that can get you to that person you need to be to. We sometimes have to ask.
Families need meals.
Absolutely. We have to ask sometimes. We work with food banks as well. There are people that's their desire to help feed other folks. They come in, they go to our food banks. We're providing, as a matter of fact, for Dr. MLK birthday next week. That is our big push from the Democratic Party here in the state of Florida, to provide food to food banks, because so many more people have become at a point where they need assistance. Food that was
More
given
than
away
ever.
for Thanksgiving and for Christmas, the people that were giving the food away was saying, look, it's amazing the number of people coming out to get food.
Yes.
So there are places that you can go and get help. You may not know what's happening, but someone here at the Democratic Party can help you. But the bottom line is with the party is we need people engaged. We need them casting their vote. But we need them to also contact those that are in service. If the person has been elected to be your servant, you need to contact them and let them know what your problem is.
Yes.
And when you do that, you let them know, I am a Democrat that votes in this county, and here's what we need in our particular area.
Social justice. That's another issue.
Absolutely.
Big issue.
We talked a little bit about the defunding the police, but if that's your passion, you need to explain to people that are working for you why that's your passion, why you feel there need to be fewer police officers and maybe more social workers on the street dealing with domestic violence issues. You have to have that conversation. We don't have to agree on everything, but we want you to learn how to have that conversation for yourself.
I got a call from Fran Tate, who lives in East Tampa, and she says that the violence is up.
Right.
Kids are being shot.
And I was going to say, especially when it came to Black Lives Matter, sometimes folks, when that argument was to fund the police, it was because the police were coming into our area and that fight was starting. If I'm tired of if I'm having a bad day and I'm a police officer and I see a young kid who's being a kid, they're out on a bicycle, maybe riding a bicycle crazily in the street, just acting like a kid does, that if it's a black child, that child may end up in jail that day versus me just having a conversation with that child and saying, here's why it's bad for you to be doing this in the street, because you can get hit. But I may not want to have that conversation because I'm having a bad day and because I work in what's considered the bad part of town.
And if you work in the bad part of town and if you're a police officer, you're running more tags.
Absolutely.
You're picking more people up for drugs.
Right.
You're not going to Carrollwood to run people's tags.
Right. And so that the conversation, our conversation about defund the police is we're just tired of the police coming into our neighborhood and not just picking on our kids. They're picking our kids up and taking them to jail.
Yes, and then next thing you know, they're in the system.
Right, and being in the system does not help you in America, especially being a black male or a black female. So all we're saying is don't start shooting other people. just don't shoot us like you're not shooting other people. There's no way at the Capitol, U.S. Capitol last Wednesday that 10 black
That
people.
was a bunch of black people? Do you think they would have been getting in?
10 black people could not have gone in there and said, "Oh, we need to speak to Mitch McConnell or to
and we
Kevin
need to
McCarthy."
hang Pence right now.
There's just no way we would have been able to do that because of our color. But they allowed hundreds in the U.S. Capitol that absolutely disintegrated the whole method
the
of
whole
safety
long
at the
and
Capitol.
short of it is they thought a bunch of white people were going down there. What's the worst that could happen?
Right. Well, they showed us.
They
broke windows. They broke doors.
It's not like they're black people.
Right. They could never do anything bad. Nothing bad's going to happen. But that happened in Washington last Wednesday. Excuse me. This Sunday here in the state of Florida, Republican senators and you in the House have told their staff, do not go to the Capitol on Sunday because the right-wing extremists are talking about being at our Capitol on Sunday. We don't want you to be in an unsafe area. Now, this isn't us. It's not Black Lives Matter. Never did they have that conversation about Black Lives Matter. Never did they say.
That's true.
Never did they say, "Oh, well, Black Lives Matter is supposed to be down here in Tallahassee on Sunday. Don't show up because we're concerned." They're saying this about right-wing extremists.
And they say the FBI director said that the biggest threat we have in the United States of America right now are white supremacist groups.
Absolutely. Because they have no care. They don't respect the government. They don't respect the police.
And they're armed.
Right. They don't respect the police. And on top of it, they're going to be armed. Did you see the guns they had out there?
And they were scaling walls. That's not ordinary people.
But my funniest thing I thought about that was Donald Trump's right here talking about build the wall. Well, hell, your people were scaling the damn wall at your spot. I mean, that wall in Mexico ain't going to do nothing either. But anyway, absolutely. They just were not expecting that.
They were unaware. They were caught unawares.
Yep. So they were unprepared, and they showed what bothered me the most was they showed other countries that our capital was not as safe as people thought it was.
Yes.
The assumption that the capital was safe, well, they threw that right out the window because they did just what they wanted to. They scaled the walls. They broke the windows. They walked in doors that were unsecure.
But you know what? That's all right because we are still the United States of America. The person that won the election is going to be inaugurated.
What we have, 6 days?
Well, 1 week from today.
Okay, there we go.
January 20th at 12 noon.
Absolutely.
Set your clock. We're going to have a new president. Praise God.
There's more that can be done. There's more that needs to be done. But the only way it's going to be done is if we have people that are going to help us. And that's my biggest ask today is get involved. Even if you don't want to do anything with the Democratic Party, make sure all of your neighbors are registered to vote. Help them help
Start with
us.
your family.
Right, absolutely. Help them help us to make America better. Because if we're not out here expressing our views, what's best for our communities, we're not going to get any better. If we're allowing
it starts with you.
Right. If we're allowing the right wing to take over the U.S. Capitol, we're not going to get any better. If we're allowing them to take over our state capitol, we're not going to get any better. It's going to take each and every one of us stepping out, having our voices heard, and us moving.
And you know what? I know that
forward.
we lost some seats and we feel a little dejected right now, but just remember, we lost that governor's race by less than 1 point.
Yep.
What we can do, especially when black people are mobilized, they're about 20% of the vote, and they can make all the difference in the world.
We lost our U.S. Senate seat by 11,000 votes. We lost the governor's race by 30,000
votes.
So we're getting there, but if you bring one person with you to vote, that makes a difference. We lost Bush's race by 500 and some odd votes here in the state of Florida.
In 2000. That's right. That's
Just
right.
bring someone with you. Get someone involved.
We cannot say your vote does not. You cannot say your vote doesn't matter or doesn't count.
Absolutely.
It absolutely counts.
If we say their 1% is who 45 was protecting, if it's 1%, that means it's 99%. That's not that 1% that we can go out and make a difference.
We can.
Absolutely, but we just have, and it doesn't take a whole lot.
And tell people again, do you want them to call you?
Absolutely.
What's your phone
certainly
number?
They can. But I wanted to say, absolutely, you can make a difference, and you can get people to vote because they can vote by mail. They don't have to go anywhere, especially if they're concerned with COVID. They don't have to go out to early vote. They don't have to go out to the precinct polling place on election day. They can request their ballot be sent to them in the mail. They can complete it at home and send it in. It's very simple, and you don't pay to send it in. The supervisor of elections office pays, right? So anyway, you can reach me. My name is Ella Coffee, and that's coffee just like the beverage we drink every day. My phone number is 813-380-1347. You can reach out to me anytime. If there's a club or a caucus you want to be involved in, please, I'm happy to put you onto the right track. There are so many things that I'm learning coming back into local politics and being a part of the local politics, because I did work for the Florida Democratic Party. I worked for the party right up until November. I worked on the Biden-Harris campaign as well. But I worked for the party, and now me coming back into the party, I'm learning some things. But if we learn it together, we now are two people that will be educated, that we can go out and educate some other folks.
Thank you, Ella,
my
so
phone
much.
number one last time is 813-380-1347. Thank you so much, Angela. I appreciate this opportunity today to come and speak on Tampa Bay politics.
All right. Spread the word. We need you.
Absolutely.